Fusion Lesson 8. Alright, so things are getting a little more complex now, but we're still kind of practicing some of the features, and little things here and there get added, but there's a lot of value in practicing these features. So we're going to choose a sketch plane, and this time we're going to use a different type of rectangle called center rectangle. So you got to use your drop down, go to rectangle, center rectangle, and right on our origin point we're going to select and we're going to drag out, and instead of dimensioning it after, we're going to dimension it while it's still up, so we haven't clicked a second time yet. This overall height is going to be 3 inches, and you can use the tab key to switch back and forth. So if you're on the wrong one, you can just do it the opposite way, 4.5 or 4.5 inches for the second measurement, and then hit enter. So that sets our first rectangle. We're going to do a second one of those. Center point, straight out, and we are going to go 1 inch tall and 1.5 wide. We're going to use our regular 2-point rectangle, which we can just use the R command for, and randomly in here, and try and make sure that they don't line up. It kind of throws in some extra constraints, so try and avoid your tool there, okay? And we are going to use some trim functionality here. So use the T key, and we want to get rid of this connection here. And you're going to have to click twice because there's actually 2 layers over top of one another. Alright, so we just have to add a few more measurements here. We are going to give this one a height of 1.5 and a width of 1. Now, we actually can just use our geometric constraints to set all of this where it needs to be. This is supposed to be centered, so we're going to come in here, use the equal command, and we're going to make that line and that line equal. So now that's centered. While we have our equal command, our equal constraint here, we're also going to make this line and this line equal, this line and this line equal. So now they are both the same height and width. The last thing that we have to do is we'll use our collinear, and we'll make one of those lines collinear, and with minimal effort there, with minimal dimensional constraints and maximum geometric constraints, which is really how you should constrain your objects when you're drawing them, just to kind of keep things locked in place. So we have that. We can hit the E key to go directly to extrude. We can skip over a bunch of extra clicks, and we're going to select this. But what I want you to do is direction. I want you to choose symmetric. We've kind of followed a symmetry theme here in this project, so I want you to purposefully make a mistake so I can show you something. So I want the overall length of this to be 3, but I want you to put 3 in as the symmetric, which means it's going to be a total of 6, but I want you to do it anyway. So click OK, get the whole thing in there. So I want to show you how you can measure things inside the environment to figure out how big they are, because those measurements disappear as soon as you've done things. So over here is the inspect tool, and you can select like a whole surface, but it just gives you a loop length and an area. What you want to do is use your inspect tool. You can select the distance between 2 lines if you want. You can see it's 6 inches. Or you can choose the length of just 1 line. So either way, it's 6 inches. So we can see that that's wrong. So if something visually looks wrong, you can check it using that inspect tool. And you can use it, you can click on circles, it'll tell you the diameter and things like that. So it is a pretty handy tool to have. But to fix this, there's only real one way to fix an extrusion, and I mean, you can use the same way to fix a sketch as well, but down here is the timeline. And on that timeline, you can see the events that we did. We did a sketch, and then we did an extrude. So if we needed to edit the sketch, you could double click here and edit the sketch, but we want to edit the extrusion. So we're going to double click on that. And we need to change this so that we are getting an overall of 3 inches instead of a total. So we're going to make this 1.5. Click OK. Use the inspect tool, and it is indeed 3 inches. So make sure that you save your part, make sure that you take a screenshot and submit this to Canvas for a grade, and that is all.